order. Please rise for the pledge.
United States of America, and to the republic for which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Morning, everyone. This is the regular scheduled Board of Public Works and Safety meeting for Wednesday, June 4th. Can I get a roll call of members, please?
Mayor Land,
Here.
Betsy Barnes,
Here.
Bob Clemens,
Here.
Jim Crook, Bill Gomez,
Present.
all present.
Okay, we do have a full quorum. First on the agenda is the approval of minutes of the prior meeting, which was held on Wednesday, May 21st. A motion to approve. We have a second.
A second.
And a second. Any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor signify with an aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Addition to new items, we have none to add today. Our special recognition, our employee of the month, we're going to move to the second meeting of this month to make sure that the recipient can be in attendance. So that'll be on the June 18th presentation. So we are going to be swearing in a new firefighter. Before I get that, just general information, we're going to have a presentation by a petitioner on the use of the old Trinity Lutheran Church on North Street. It's just basically like a workshop. We're going to put that presentation under miscellaneous at the end of the meeting. So just letting you guys know. First up, okay, Chief, we're going to be swearing in a new firefighter, right? Okay, Jose, come on up.
So today, the Crown Point Fire Department is proud to welcome our newest member, firefighter paramedic Jose Navarro, as he takes the oath of office. Jose will hold badge number 87 and becomes the 19th firefighter hired under this administration. He'll be joining Turn 1 under the leadership of Battalion Chief Scott Lee. The native of East Chicago, Jose has been long driven by a passion for emergency medicine and a deep commitment to serving others. Background includes experience as an EMT and firefighter in area hospitals with private and EMS providers, giving us a solid foundation of high-pressure life-saving care. Fire and EMS personnel are the first line of defense in every emergency. The addition of professionals like Jose strengthens our ability to respond when it matters most. It reaffirms our mission to protect and serve the residents of Crown Point with excellence. It's a special moment today as Jose's girlfriend Lisa will be pinning on his badge. Please join me in congratulating and welcoming Jose.
I, Jose Navarro, fully realize and accept the responsibility of being a firefighter, and shall execute the duties assigned to me. I shall serve and protect the citizens of Crown Point. With respect, integrity, and excellence. I recognize the badge of my office. As a symbol of public faith and trust. And to uphold the mission of the Crown Point Fire Department. And make these promises so solemnly. Freely. And of my honor.
Thank you. All right, great job. So, don't go away yet. Here's the oath. So, Chief, great job on the bio. Jose, you got anything you want to say or share with?
Just happy to be here, to be of service to Crown Point. Thank you guys for all the support.
Well done.
Congratulations.
Yes, you are.
Okay, moving on, under old and deferred business, our utility updates. We have a substitute for Al. Good morning.
Hello,
Hi.
I'm Amy Mendoza. I'm filling in for Al today. He's on vacation. So updates on our projects in construction and in design. So for the water project, the 24-inch water supply line, we're in the process of negotiating new utility easements, different route with legal and the property owners to mitigate potential property acquisition costs that we're looking too high with the other route that we are looking at. Once that gets resolved, then we will continue with the design of the project. Lead service line replacement project. The contractor has been notified of the award of that project. June 30th is the scheduled loan closing with SRF. And that's going to coincide with the contractor notice to proceed and the pre-construction meeting. We will provide the contractor's schedule once we get it from them. So they're going to be getting started approximately in July with the early submittal process, and then they will mobilize probably in August or September.
Okay.
Wastewater Utility Improvements Division A. The existing treatment plant, the project is wrapping up. The skylights are installed and the contractor has completed most of the punch list items. They're repairing the chlorine contact tank mixers and the gate 5. That's in progress pending deliveries. And one additional change order is anticipated likely at the next Board of Works meeting for the gate 5 repair. It was damaged by a sewer plug, and the gates 4 and 5 will have some additional programming, and that will be in a change order that Al will present probably at the next meeting. The percent complete from a budgetary perspective is 98%, and the schedule, we have reached substantial completion and we're nearing final completion for that project. Downtown Interceptor project, Atlas Excavating has been notified of the intent to award the project to them. The closing and the corresponding pre-construction meeting, like the lead service line project, will happen on June 30th with SRF. And we're in the process of coordinating the beginning of construction with the contractor, and that's a larger project with a lot more to it. It might be a little bit farther out than the lead service line project. Southeast Wastewater Treatment Plant is in the design phase. There's value engineering that's been done to identify ways of saving cost on the project, and that will be reviewed with the utility staff to decide which things want to be incorporated. After that is finalized, we will be submitting the item permit. And then anticipated bidding and construction activities are looking like later this fall, with the award of the project and commencement of construction happening at the end of the year, approximately, depending on when SRF schedules the closing. Collection system design improvements is in design. The force main route is following the same route as that water main project, which is being reconsidered. And that is currently being negotiated with property owners. The lift station design work is in progress for Greenview Lift Station. 129th Avenue Lift Station is paused as it's along the same route as that easement acquisition that's being changed for the route. Delaware Lift Station is same update we've been providing. The property acquisition is still holding up the design of that location, but hopefully we'll get there sooner than later. Is there any other questions for Commonwealth?
No. We did have, I don't know if Al wants to wait till the next meeting, the task order.
Yes.
Okay, all right.
Yep. Okay, thank you.
All right. Okay, number 1 under new business, request approval to hold 2 boot drives for the Crown Point Hockey Club. Morning, George.
Good morning. George Patrick on behalf of Crown Point Hockey. They've asked for 2 dates, July 19 and September 6th.
for the varsity and the junior varsity teams. The 4 corners they asked for were Main and South, Greenwood and Main, North and East, and Court and South. The team has grown, and the fundraising drives are beneficial to both teams, and so that's why they were asking for the July 19 with a rain date of July 20 and September 6 with a rain date of September 7.
Well, you guys definitely know what you're doing. You've done this before. Great intersection. So I'll bring it to the board for any questions or action, but be supportive of it. We have a motion to approve in a second. Any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor signify with an eye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed.
Thank you very much.
Thanks, George. Number 2, request approval of road closure for Christway camps. Morning, sir. Good.
Morning, Mayor. Morning, board
Morning.
members. My name is Kevin Keller, Chief of Security for Christway Church over on 150 West Anderson Street. And just have a couple of requests this morning. This summer on Wednesday evenings, actually starting today, we'll be having a program for with our church for K5 through, I guess I should use my reading glasses that I brought. Through 5th grade, called Camp Christway. The dates are as follows: June 4th, 11th, 18th, and 25th. And then July 9th, 16th, 23rd, and 30th. So 4 Wednesday nights or this month, and 4 Wednesday nights in July. And request is, can we possibly close off a portion of Anderson Street between North Court Street and Main during our program? The reason we're asking to close off the street is because we have properties on both sides of Anderson Street, and the kids will be crossing back and forth during the program. And of course, I want to ensure their safety, obviously, but so first of all, are we allowed to close the street? Does our church have to have a permit to close off the above street? I'm asking that the above portion of Anderson Street be closed off on the above dates between 6:30 p.m. and 8 o'clock p.m. So an hour and a half. I have pictures of what the barricades would look like that we've closed them off with. I do apologize. I only brought like 4 hard copies if anyone wants to see those.
Okay, maybe share them with the police chief, and then if any board of works members want.
So this is the picture of the barricades we'll be using.
So does it, with that, the restaurants right there?
Yes.
Do they still have access to?
Yeah, so I actually, can I approach?
Yes.
So on this picture on the front page, you'll see, well, no, I'm sorry, it's not on the front page, it's on the second page. There's a map, and there's these 2 blocks here are actually requesting to block off without blocking the entrance to the restaurant, which
So
is
it's really Court Street to the edge of the property, the
Correct.
property line there, not all
Correct.
the way to, okay. Yes. Terry?
Mayor, I've done that for them a few times.
Yes, sir.
Right.
It works out well. They do.
Okay.
So they have the barricades. They happen quite often.
Okay, so based on that, there'd be no interruption in access to the restaurant part
Correct.
of Anderson Street. And then I don't know, the kind of barricades or, just with, we got to be extra cautious safety wise with traffic and everything that comes with that. So before we turn it to the board, I just ask that you work with the police chief to make sure that the barricades or whatever you have in place are robust enough to stop any cars that may be trying to go through.
Yeah, so anytime we're out there, I actually have 17 members in my security team,
Okay,
and anyone who's out on the street doing any kind of duty out on the street, like the traffic detail or crossing, they're always in a fluorescent vest with a traffic one, so we're easily seen.
Mhm.
So it makes it safer.
okay. So for me, if the police departments would be satisfied with whatever plan is worked out, I would be okay with it. But I'll bring it to the board then for any questions of the petitioner or the police chief or action.
certificate. for yourself.
The homeowner, the driveway that you're blocking, you've spoken to him?
That's part of our property.
Oh, gotcha.
So I think that's why parking needs the street closed, because you're gonna have people
Correct.
cross here.
Correct.
Mayor, if I could add, so I know they've done they
Right.
done it before. We've had no complaints.
Okay, all right, good notation.
And we have, of course, as I mentioned, security. We also have medical people on scene for, care for any first aid cases or
Just in
whatever
case.
happens. So
Okay,
a couple of qualified EMTs on the scene, so we make sure it's safe all the way around.
okay, thank you.
So move, man.
Okay, so we have a motion to approve the road closure. We have a second
A second.
and a second. Any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor signify with an eye. Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. You're all
Yeah,
set.
yeah. I just had one other request though.
Okay,
For it's pretty much along the same lines of the same area. So for our regular services, like on Sundays and Sunday mornings and Wednesday nights, it's just 2 services a week. This part has nothing to do with the program. On Sundays and Wednesdays, we're asking, are we allowed to place a couple of cones in the middle of Anderson Street on the yellow lines to caution oncoming traffic? And it would be, like I say, on the yellow line, not in the lanes. For this request, we're not requesting to impede traffic or close off the street, only to caution. So again, that's just for the regular services on Sunday from like 9:30 to 12 o'clock.
so they're not lane of traffic. They're basically designed to, people see the cone, kind
It's
of
just
slow
to
down.
caution
And
people, that there are people crossing during the services.
Okay,
And again, it would not impede traffic.
okay. I don't think with any border works action be needed for just under the center line. There's no road closure or anything like that. Good with that? Yeah,
See, on the last page, actually a picture of myself, how I would look out there with my vest and,
okay,
because we always have someone out during that time as well for crossing people.
right.
At those times.
So for that request, if the police department's good, we're good. Board doesn't need to vote or take any action on that. So
Okay, great.
you're set with
Appreciate
that.
it.
All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
Number 3, request approval of facility use agreement with the Lake County Corn Dogs. So the board knows the Lake County Corn Dog season is back. They're continuing to use our legacy fields. Working out a partnership with the Babe Ruth League. So this is just an amendment to the body of the agreement remains in place. This is just an amendment to this year's agreement. You can see that we changed the listed amount. They're paying an increase to the Babe Ruth League, so I'd rather have the money go to help support the Babe Ruth League and the kids that play baseball out there. But nevertheless, we need an agreement in place just to cover the city's liability and insurance purposes and so forth. So that's all this agreement is. But I don't think Ralph was able to come today from the Corn Dogs, but bring it to the board for any questions or hopeful approval for this year's season for them.
So move.
A motion to approve the agreement. We have a second.
I'll second.
And a second. Any further discussion on the motion? Legal's good with it, correct?
We drafted it, Mayor. We'll do it.
All those in favor signify with an eye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, board. Number 4, request approval of NIPSCO service agreement for Sowerman Woods. Sowerman Woods. Jenny Burgess?
I am seeking board's approval today. We are at the place of Sowerman where we are ready to move the NIPSCO back in and start getting things hooked up. So we have an agreement that we received for them for a new account to bring in power to the south end of the park and to hook up additional power on the north end. Alex did review the NIPSCO agreement, so I'm just looking for approval to proceed with the agreement to bring in the power to the facility.
Okay, and then if you know, after they did their, was there gonna be a charge to the city?
$0
Okay.
to bring it in to the park.
I like
So
that.
That's good news.
Very good, okay. Alex?
Oh, yeah, Mayor, we reviewed the agreement, standard NIPSCO agreement, didn't have any concerns with it, and bonus is the $0 to the city, so I recommend move it forward.
So we'll bring this to the board for questions of Jenny or action. A motion to approve the agreement. We have a second
Second.
and a second. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor signify with an eye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed.
Thank you.
Thanks, Jenny. Number 5, request approval to accept 2 performance bonds for Willows Phase 3. Doug Bright.
Thank you, Mayor. We are asking the board to accept two performance bonds for Willows Phase 3, one for infrastructure for $485,439.13. That's for the infrastructure, and our second bond is for the HMA surface for Phase 3 in the amount of $76,180.39.
Okay, thanks, Doug. Turn it to legal. 1, are you okay with this? And 2, can we do both these together?
Same phase.
Correct.
Correct, yeah, we can do both together, and legal has no issue with it.
Okay, so based on the engineering's request, we'll bring this to the board.
I'll second.
Motion to approve the request and a second. Any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor signify with an eye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. And request approval to release bond for the Franciscan Hospital.
Thank you, Mayor. We request to release the bond for Franciscan Hospital in the amount of $399,303 for their maintenance bond. All items have been performed and completed. However, there is a section of sidewalk I'd like to make note of that was not installed for the hospital campus due to the Dana-Farber White Center that's being established at this point. So we have a letter of commitment from Ton Blank that when Dana-Farber White's Cancer Center is completed, they will finish that cycle.
Okay.
So I asked the board to release Franciscan's hospital spot.
Okay. Doug, Alex?
Yeah, Mayor, I think we're okay with this. I don't think we have any concerns with Time Blank's not gonna do what they say they're gonna do, so I would recommend approval on.
We'll bring this one to the board.
Well, but what would be the timeline? This summer we'll get it done, this summer?
For the cancer center? Yeah. The sidewalk probably going last, but I'm not sure that their timeline for the completion of the cancer center.
It's not gonna hold anything up.
No. It's just connectivity on the campus. So the sidewalk will probably be the last to go in with the landscape.
So move, Mayor, on that.
All right, we have a motion to approve the release. We have a second
A second.
and a second. Any further discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor signify with an eye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thanks, Doug. Okay, miscellaneous. So as the board knows, not to rehash the entire history of the church property on North Street. Some time ago, we held a hearing, took action, and the board voted to deem that an unsafe building. And we awarded a contract for demolition. As that process is going, we're doing our due diligence with that. We continue to have dialogue with the foundation. And they're hopeful saving and restoration of the building. So quite frankly, some of the meetings and pitches were not viable. However, one of them, I think, has some pretty solid merit. It's currently a Crown Point business, a successful Crown Point business. They're looking to be the end user of that and renovate it and repurpose it towards their headquarters so they can stay in Crown Point. So what we did was invited them to come to the Board of Works. There's no action being taken by the board, just more like a workshop to present their hopeful uses of the property. Then they know they'd have to still go to the different boards and ultimately city council. If they're successful there, then they'd come back to this body for our action that would need to be taken. But like I said, so I invited them. I don't get too deep in the weeds. Hi, Robert. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
So Robert is we'll let him introduce himself and this whole, like I said, it definitely, the project has a lot of merit to it. So we were excited.
Thank you, Mayor. I appreciate that. And thank you, board members and you all. Really appreciate your time and this opportunity to share with you. My name is Robert Polino. I'm Vice President of Creekside. This is my business partner, Mike Arnold. Mike is the president of Creekside. As Mayor was kind enough to point out, we are a local Crown Point business. Currently, our operation is on 111th Court, just off of right behind Off Square Brewery. We are quickly outgrowing that space for our administrative team as we continue to grow and build the company. And Mike and I coincidentally were downtown Crown Point one day having lunch and driving back to the office, and we drove by the church, and I said to Mike, I'm like, Mike, what's going on with that building? Mike said does quite a bit of real estate investing on the side. I said, can you look into that? Mike ran that to ground. We found the foundation, and we found out that there was a very short period of time before this building would be demolished. Our proposal here outlines what we would ultimately like to see for the space. Again, it would be for our administrative staff, right? Executives, sales, HR, those types of folks. Our business operation would ideally like to stay in a Crown Point, but as you all know, Crown Point, as far as real estate goes for those types of operations, is a little bit pricey. But we would really like to rehab the church building itself. And then I'll go into a little bit more detail here. Well, one of our landscape architects did just very quickly here, and this is a quick hand sketch of what we believe the front of the building could look like, right? And I don't know the history of the whole drama behind everything that's gone on, and I can't change the past, guys. Not like anyone, just like everybody in this room. All I can do is help shape the future. And this is a really, really beautiful building. And I believe that our team, and as being a tenant in this space, could really, really make this a showpiece within Crown Point. We're proud to do business in the town. We want to stay here. There's a lot of our customers here. This is essentially daily advertising for us that we would call our home for our administrative team. So let me just get this started here. So project overview: work with local contractors and preservation specialists to restore and repurpose the historical landmark known as Trinity Evangelical Lutheran Church, located at 400 East North Street in Crown Point. The plan is based on multiple site visits and thorough inspections conducted by qualified professionals who have assessed the current condition and outlined the necessary repairs and upgrades. We are not building contractors, but Mike and I are both in the trades, and we've been doing this the better part of our professional lives. We have a lot of contractor partners that we currently use in our own business that we would be partnering with on this project to execute those various aspects of the project: electrical, plumbing, HVAC. The mason that we would be looking to use on this project is a local mason that's done a lot of the restoration in and around the square, Yanni Masonry. So we're looking to partner with local contractors that can help, again, restore this building to its original glory and make this a showpiece within the town. Let's see. Goals and vision. The core objectives is preserve the architectural integrity and historic significance of the church while adapting it for modern community enhancing use. The proposal seeks to rezone the property to mixed use allowing a combination of commercial and residential functions. As I mentioned, and we'll go into a little bit more detail a little bit later on here, is the intention would be for the school to be converted into apartments and or condominiums. And then the church itself is currently divided into 3 floors. We would obviously have structural engineer, architect reevaluate those floors to make sure that they're sound and safe. But to leave that building divided into 3 floors and make them 3 separate, 3 to 4, 5 perhaps office suites. And in the timeline, as we outlined, and as Mayor was kind enough to point out, our goal would be that when this project is complete, we would be moving in and occupying 2 of those floors as the major tenant. And then as the business continues to grow, we would then occupy the final floor of the church. And then we would be the sole tenant of the church building itself. And then, you know, the apartments or condos, whichever they would become, would continue to just operate as normal residential units as far as that would go. So proposed use, as I just talked about right there, I don't know that I need to read all that. That's essentially what I just what I had said. A very key note here is that you know, in discussions with the foundation and just being a lover of architecture that I am, the goal would be to preserve the exterior facade of the church itself and update that as close to possible as to what it once was, right? Whether we go through stained glass windows and all that sort of thing, I'm not sure that that's going to happen just based on the budget, but that American Gothic architecture that is so signature of that building, 100% that would be preserved, just like a lot of the other churches in town as well. So the church, in a nutshell, would remain the same. And then the school building itself, like I said, conversion, a lot of that would remain the same too. Perhaps some slight modifications as far as the architecture on there. A lot of the old windows were blocked and bricked in, just not allowing for a lot of light in there. And we would, you know, make modifications to that to allow more light into those units, just to make that a more inviting space to want to live as far as that. And then, you know, goes without saying, obviously the landscape itself would definitely be a showpiece. Again, this is advertising for our company. So it is in definitely in our best interest to make that property shine as much as possible on that busy corner there. So the next phase of this kind of outlines everything. Executive summary: this proposal outlines a strategic plan to preserve and adaptively reuse the historic Trinity Church and adjacent school building. The intent is to restore the property with respect to its architectural significance while introducing a new mixed-use function. The church will be repurposed into office suites and the school will be converted into residential apartment condos, as we've said. A lot of this is redundant too. Project objectives: preserve a recognized historic structure in Crown Point. I'm pretty sure the church was built somewhere in the late 1800s. The school in 1930, 36 range, somewhere in there. You know, it's hard to find a lot of buildings like that anymore. I'm a firm believer that helps add to the charm of an amazing community like this. I'm not originally from Crown Point. I'm originally from Western Pennsylvania, just outside of Pittsburgh, really small town. Crown Point reminds me a lot of that. You know, we had old brick streets there and all that sort of thing, the old courthouse, the old jail, all those buildings that were preserved. I'm a firm believer, and hopefully you all would agree, that those types of architectural pieces within the community help add to the charm, versus if you go to a new subdivision where it's like, man, which street do I turn down? Because they all look kind of the same. So so that's what we want to do, is try and help our part and preserving this iconic building. Stimulate local economic activity through office space for small businesses. It is our goal 100% to hire as many folks as we can from the community, right? The whole idea of being able to live and work in the area where, you know, you call home. I ride my bike to work now some days, right? I live in Munster, but I ride my bike on the trail to work some days, and it's amazing. I would love to be able to have employees that say, you know, they walk to work every day, go home and see their kids for lunch or whatever that might be. So really just engaging the community and the local residents that we can you know, help as much as we can. And as I said, Mike and I, the day that we first found this church, we're having lunch right down Crown Point as Crown Point business owners, supporting the local economy and wanting to do that with even more employees in our office space, just helping that economic cycle churn within the community. Provide new housing options on the school side there. A really cool outdoor space for those residents. It's a very popular trend right now in building is these amenity spaces where residents, whether it's the residents of the residential side or the residents of the office, they can go out and take their lunch break, and perhaps there's a grill out there and they could cook their lunch or sit out on the patio or work out there for a little while, that sort of thing. And as I mentioned before, engage local contractors and professionals to ensure community benefit and investment. All of the contractors are local. They're all from the surrounding towns that we would be looking to partner with on this project. Site overview. We all know the property that we're talking about. The current zoning, I'm not exactly sure what the current zoning is. I think it's residential, but that's part of the process that we would need to go forward with, is some rezoning consideration. If you all find our proposal favorable enough to go on to those next steps, as I said, the intention would be that mixed use of office and living residential space there. Let's see. So yeah, we already talked about that one. Sorry. So yep, that's our building. We've talked about this, and as you all know, right, this hasn't been going on for just a couple of weeks. I know it's been a number of years. Wish I would have seen the property sooner and had the idea sooner, but we know that there is significant structural damage both on the exterior of the building and on the interior of the building. I've probably been in and out of that building no less than 10 times with various contractors, myself, my other investors. So we're well aware of the issues and challenges that we face. My business partner, Mike, he has from ground up here in Crown Point, just completed a project right next to, well, built our building that we're currently in and the neighboring property, both buildings from ground up. So again, this has its whole set of different challenges and rabbit holes that you go down when you do renovation. But it's not like, you know, we just came up with this grand idea. Well, yeah, we're contractors, we can renovate this building. I assure you, we're not that naive, and we're well aware of the significant amount of work and time and energy that would be put into this project. Talked about some of those things already as far as, sorry, I'm used to a touchscreen. As far as the project scope on the school, again, we know in and outside of that school, with exception of the exterior and some of the structural steel, it's almost a complete gut job inside that school. And when we're well aware of that, bringing it up to all the necessary compliances that need to be there to make it residential, safe and compliant. As well as, you know, I've touched on the exterior of the project and the property. 100%, again, goes without saying, this is a showpiece, and we would be very proud to call this home. Right, I think one of the most important things that you all might be thinking about, and this is in your packet too, if this is a little bit small, is the timeline. We're not going to be working on this project ourselves, right? We have our day jobs that we do as far as our operating company goes. This is partnership with local contractors to execute and to be able to deliver on this time frame. You know, I've met with all of these contractors. They're very eager and wanting to work on this project with us. And I do realize that these things take time, especially given the current state of what the project has has or hasn't done to this point in time. So I understand that there's going to be obstacles and conversations and additional meetings that we're going to need to have. And to the best of my ability, I try to outline and account for that in this time frame here. But I do believe that this is a very obtainable time frame too. I don't want to stand up here and tell you that I can get this done in a year. I'm one to over deliver and under promise. I don't want to do the opposite of that. I don't want to stand here and tell you I can do this in a year, because it's just not possible with everything that needs to happen. But I do believe after 18 months, this building will be an absolute showpiece in the town, and the decision to allow us to go through with the renovation and the preservation, I think will be one that you will find that will be happy to be on our side of this decision. Funding strategy. This is private investment. Mike and I are both partners in this deal, as well as a very good friend of mine. He's also a local businessman. And then my father. So we're privately invested. This is and again, we are going to be the main tenant on the office space there. So and look to eventually occupy all 3 floors there. There's some other things that we might explore here, but we don't really know the viability. This is the first time that we've gone down the road of working on a historic project like this. So just some other avenues that we'll look into there. So again, we've talked about the community impact. The historic preservation maintains the community's architectural heritage, the economic growth. Again, more businesses, more residents in the area, adding to just the whole economic cycle of the town. Housing, we talked about it, and the local boost to the economy through jobs, both on this project as well as full-time jobs that we would have available once the project is complete. Next steps, quite honestly, that's where this is all new to me. I'm a very honest and transparent person. This is a whole new process in terms of coming before you all and figuring out what these next steps would be. But I can tell you that both Mike and I, we are 150% committed to this project. This is our busiest time of the year as far as a landscape contractor, and I have spent nights and weekends working on this project because it's that important to me and to us, and I believe to the community. So I'm willing to do the necessary work that it's going to take and to help see this all the way through. It's been great getting to know you, Mayor, and your team, and understanding a little bit more about that process, and looking forward to learning more about what those next steps would be as far as that goes. I did just, there's a few contractors listed here that we would be looking to work with. You guys may or may not know some of them, but they are all from the immediate surrounding area, and we definitely these are folks that we've worked with in the past, and we know would do a fantastic job on this project. Yeah, so that's I don't have anything else. Thank you all very much. I definitely appreciate the time, your service to the community and hearing us out. And again, had I even known about this building years ago, obviously I've driven by it a million times, and it's just with our growth, I'm like, Mike, we're fast outgrowing this property that we're currently in. We need more office space. And literally we were talking about our budget for 2026 and the people that we need to add to the team. And then we drove by the church, and it's like, all right, well, we hear you, God, let's see what we can do here. And that's why we're here today.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Great job on the presentation.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Well done. I mean, so before we turn it to the board, like I said, I like the fact that when you're currently Crown Point business, and because of your success, you're looking to expand. This happened to present itself. I like the aggressive timeline. One, because, well, you have motivation to get that done, because the sooner you get done, the sooner you can move in there. So I like that. as part of it, through our discussions we've had is, our commitment made to the neighborhood, who's been incredibly patient. I think that would go a long way for them too. They just want to see something like moving. right?
Absolutely.
And I think that your timeline accomplishes that. So not to mention with the product that you're, hopeful to turn it into. So I thought that's why, meeting with him and team a couple times, Robert gave the same presentation. So I thought it's important the Board of Works at least hear and see kind of what they're thinking about. So we'll turn it to the board for any questions of Robert or any thoughts, but
Start off.
yep, it's your district.
I met with a meeting with you gentlemen before. Well, yesterday's gone, tomorrow's here, and today is here and tomorrow's outside. I've heard some of the things you've done, and I've looked at all of that. Nobody knows that church probably is about as good as I do, because I've seen it. I've been around it. I've talked to them. That's my district. I've talked to people on that at length many, many times. We went through the trials and tribulations when we had to go over there with our police department stuff. What you're saying to here stirs a lot of emotions in me of something that can be recreated and establish itself as something in the past that was good.
Mhm.
And when you guys talk about you gentlemen do it, and you seem very sincere, and your record speaks for itself. And I don't have a problem with what you have to do. I know there's some steps you're going to have to go through. We know that, and for us, the board, our fellow and lady members here, once you go through those steps, and I'm confident if you can keep the momentum you got and do what you say and say what you mean, I don't think you'll have a problem. And I don't think you'll have a problem with the public, because you know what? This is the best thing that I've seen happen on this whole situation since I've been sitting here in my third mayor. So you've got my blessings, and I hope that you can fulfill everything that you have promised us. And I'm going to have faith in you, because I don't see no other outlet. This is a good situation. And it was going to cost us a lot of money to take it down, and we'd have to recoup our money. And our taxpayers, I think, will be solvent when we're all doing here. And I think that's what we're for. I'm here for quality of life and the wellness of our people. And I think this will be a good thing down there if you can do what you say you're going to do. That's all I got to say, Mayor.
Okay, thank you, Bob.
Appreciate that, sir. Thank you.
Any other comments from the
I like it. I think
board
it's
member?
great. Clean it up.
Yeah.
No tear down.
Mayor, the only, go ahead.
I was gonna say, the only concern I'd have is that if it's condemned and gotta tear it down to rebuild. Have you thought of that aspect of it?
Yeah, there's been, from what I understand from John, who's a member on the foundation, there have been feasibility studies and architectural studies to show some of the structural integrity. So quite honestly, no, I have not crossed that bridge. If we get into this and structural engineer and says, hey, we got to tear this thing down. At that point in time, I do know that, obviously, and our attorney would write that into the contract with the foundation, that if it is found to be structurally unstable, and we do have to demolish it, then we have to work around that and demolish it. And then from there, we would come before you for a new plan. But again, Mike has started from 19 years old, Creekside, right? And he's 21 now. Well, actually, he's a little bit older than that. But I'm a lot older than that. But he started the company at 19 years old and has been in Crown Point. This is my way of saying we want to stay here. So if it doesn't work out that we can't rehab that, and that is 1,000,000% our intention. It's a beautiful building. But we all know that we can't see what we can't see once a structural engineer gets in there. And if it finds that it is not salvageable, then yeah, we'd be back in front of you with a plan to demolish and then build something new there that would be similar in scope in terms of mixed use and office residential. But But I really, really hope that that's not the case because it's a gorgeous building. And to build something like that in today's day and age, we all know that it's gonna be 3, 4, 5 times the cost of that. So.
I guess Bill hit the main question I was
Yeah.
gonna ask, same thing, you know, we just need to make sure something's done. The only other suggestion I would have is on the city's behalf that unfortunately, you guys coming into this at the 9th hour, right?
Yep.
We create some sort of aggressive timeline because that thing has been a nuisance for, I feel like at least 10 years. The city just needs to hold, unfortunately, their feet to the fire to make sure that we're proceeding because I feel it should have been already demolished by now, you know? So, unfortunately for you guys, it's going to create a really aggressive schedule.
We're ready for it.
But I'm sure the residents out there and as you see the buildings becoming more dilapidated daily,
By the
right?
day,
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
100%.
So I think it's a great idea. I would love to see it saved and I would have loved to have seen this done 5, 6 years ago. I guess better late than never. So let's just make sure something happens within the you know, a certain time frame that BZA or somebody has to come up with.
Yeah, and that's like we've discussed in our meetings with Robert, exactly that point.
Yeah.
So they're well aware of kind of the
Yeah.
city's thought and that's, you know, like I said, they have motivation to
Yeah.
get it done as quickly as possible for themselves.
100%.
Cool.
Yeah, I think we've met, 3 times now in the last month?
Yeah.
So it's been pretty rapid pace and we're fully committed to that and ready to do it and excited about what the potential next steps could be.
Cool. Alex, anything on the legal side that?
No, Mayor, I guess, I mean, there is the option for the board to rescind that order at some point in time, I think, as long as the understanding is that they're on a pretty short timeline here with getting the application filed, probably this week with the BZA and the planning commission. And as long as those approvals go through and the council gets approval, they can come back here and we can make its final decision on whether it wants to rescind that contract. There is some cooperation with the contractor on that. So there's options there, and I don't think the board needs to take any action here today, but at least give these guys the kind of the nod to go forward and do what they need to do with the other boards and commissions of the city.
Regarding the contractor that
Was awarded the demo work. They've been briefed on this entire situation.
Yeah, I'm fully aware of it. They're standing by waiting to see what happens here. I think we've had conversations with them, so there are some options there.
Okay.
How they proceed with the next couple weeks with the plan.
Okay. Great.
So I suggest have a continued dialogue with Greg Falkowski, our Economic Development Director, to guide you through the timelines and when filings are due and so forth. So I'm here to assist you in all that.
Sounds good.
So again, great job in the presentation.
Thank you.
So as you make your way through the process, feel free to reach out to
Appreciate it.
myself or the mayor's office. But very exciting. So
excellent.
well
Thank you.
done.
Yeah, we're very excited as well. Thank you all.
right.
Appreciate your
Thank
time.
you. Okay, anybody have anything under miscellaneous? I did have one piece of correspondence from a resident, sent me an email, just wanted for me to pass on their thanks to the police and fire department for a call that they handled for the family at their house. So just all complimentary thoughts and wanted me to pass that on to both agencies. So well done on that. I think I shared that with you. So, but wanted to let the board know that was a nice email to receive from a resident. Okay, our next regular meeting will be Wednesday, June 18th at 11 a.m. and we need a motion to adjourn. A motion and a second. Any discussion on the motion? Hearing none, all in favor signify with an eye.